call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, gotta fill up.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Juggernaut Show. And today I'm here to give you my AEW All Out 2025 review, which All Out was this past Saturday, September 20th, 2025, from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, at the Scotiabank Arena. And I gotta say this, Saturday was just a jam-packed day of professional wrestling. You know, with All Out going to WrestlePalooza and all that. I mean, we know what the superior show was during the weekend. We know what it was, hands down. Like there's no, like it's not even close what the better show was. Definitely, All Out was the better show in my opinion. Like, which we're gonna talk about WrestlePalooza later on in my next video. Which that's gonna be my next video. I'm gonna be reviewing WrestlePalooza later on. But yeah, All Out, like from top to bottom, you know, with the pacing that was going on, you know, we have returns, you know, I mean, sometimes AEW usually, you know, they usually tend to make their matches over deliver and they usually stack their cards up, which I don't like sometimes how much matches they add on the card because sometimes I go like, oh yeah, I completely forgot about that match. You know, by the time you're at the main event, like you're exhausted. But I mean, AEW, you know, they want you to get your bang for your buck for these pay-per-views. But overall, I enjoyed AEW All Out. It was a great show. Like I said, there were some awesome returns. There was some title changes we had on the show. Nice surprises. It was a good show this year. So let's get right into this review. So, and we're not going to talk about the 0 hour or whatever that pre-show was, the tailgate brawl. We're not going to talk about that because I don't really care about the pre-show matches. But yeah, to start off the main card, we had Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, you know, finally reuniting. It's been a long time since they tagged up together. I think the last time that they tagged up was like in 2011 or something around there. So this was cool seeing Adam Copeland and Christian Cage tag up together to take on the team of FTR. Now, you know, probably one of the best things about this match was when Adam Copeland he paid an homage to none other than John Cena. You know, John Cena a few weeks ago when he was doing his match against Sami Zayn in Chicago, which I was there for. You know, Cena hit that spear, so Adam Copeland he was paying some respects to John Cena there. He did the little 5-knuckle shuffle. That was pretty cool. The crowd was chanting for Cena. That was really cool. That was probably one of the best spots of the match, in my personal opinion. And like kind of like fantasy booking or like, you know, going like what if, you know, they WWE and AEW, you know, they did like a, you know, for like one night only, like they came together and like they did like a show together. Like it was just a what if, you know, you kind of get that fantasy booking in your mind because I would love to see Adam Copeland and John Cena go at it one more time, or Edge and John Cena, because those two have, you know, that they were big part of each other's careers. You know, they had amazing feuds with each other, amazing matches. So I would just like to see one more match, but I doubt we're gonna get that. Like WWE's not gonna play nice with AEW. They just aren't, you know, with all the counter programming that they've been doing as of late. They just aren't gonna be doing that. But yeah, this was a fun match. I mean, it was nice seeing Adam Copeland and Christian tag up here. I mean, FTR, we know what they could do. Um, we even had a nice surprise of Beth Copeland coming out, or Beth Phoenix coming out. She carried away Stokely Hathaway, which was very funny. Carried him backstage, took him out, gave him a nice spear. You know, the FTR was trying to do a lot of cheating in the match. They even tried using the ring bell on Adam Copeland. They used the ring bell on Adam Copeland, and then they did that like assisted pile driver, but Adam Copeland kicked out of that. Um, but ultimately, in the end, Adam Copeland and Christian would end up winning here. And that wasn't the end of that, because then we had Mother Wayne, and we had Kip Sabian, and we had all the patriarchy come out to take out Adam Copeland and Christian. So it doesn't look like the stuff is over with FTR. And also, Kip Sabian handcuffed. Kip Sabian handcuffed uh, Copeland to the ropes, and then Beth came back out. She ended up eating a pile driver from FTR. So it looks like we might be getting a trios match eventually. Maybe like Mother Wayne and like FTR going up against CNC and Beth, because we haven't seen her in an AEW ring, wrestle in an AEW ring. So we'll probably be getting that maybe at Wrestle Dream, which is the next pay per view coming up. But I mean, this is what I expected this match to be. I expected CNC to pick up the victory here. So hey, it's a great way to start off the show. I'm happy that's how they kicked off the show. All right. Next match we had here. So we had Eddie Kingston made his return in over 16 months. But I mean, finally in ring action, going up to face Big Bill. Yeah, this match, there was like a lot of miscues in this match. Even like that ending when Eddie Kingston, he tried going for that back fist. Like he definitely missed with that. He definitely didn't connect with that. Even commentator goes like, "Wait," he goes like, I don't think Eddie Kingston got all that." Also, Big Bill, he was taunting a lot during this match. Talking Eddie Kingston a lot throughout the match. It was one of your shorter matches of the night. I mean, I wasn't expecting Eddie Kingston to lose here. I mean, and there really wasn't a whole lot of story to this match as well, so I didn't really care about it all like that. But it's nice to see Eddie Kingston back, and it's good that he got picked up the victory. He did his back fist onto Big Bill to pick up the victory. And then after the match, we had Brian Keith. He attacked Eddie Kingston after the match. And then Hook came out to save Eddie Kingston. So it looks like we're going to have like a pairing of Eddie Kingston and Hook. I mean, both are New York guys. And, after Hook, he's kind of like left from the ops and stuff. He wants to find some like backup to help him. And Eddie Kingston's a good guy for that. He really is. So yeah, it's nice to see Eddie Kingston back here and see him pick up a victory. But yeah, we'll move on to the next match, which we had was the tables and tax match between Mark Briscoe and MJF. Yes, it's what it says. It was a tables and tax. We had a whole bunch of tax in the ring. Right at the beginning of the match, Mark Briscoe, he spreads out the tax, and there's a whole bunch of tables set up on the outside of the ring. I mean, we saw a whole bunch of tables get used. I mean, throughout this whole night. It seems like these wrestlers, they were trying to kill each other. Like, it was wild. But Mark Briscoe, I mean, there was one point where he had tacks, like on his like forehead, even in the back of his head. He took like some nasty bumps onto the back bumps onto the thumbtacks. What else? MJF, I mean, there was one point where Mark Briscoe, he paid like an homage to Sandman doing with the steel chair, doing the dive onto MJF on the outside of the ring into a table. That was pretty nice in the match. I mean, there were some points where MJF, he did a nice tombstone onto this chair that had a whole bunch of tacks on it. I thought, like, oh no, MJF is definitely winning here, but Mark Briscoe kicked out of that. We had a nice cactus jack elbow from Mark Briscoe onto MJF through a table. That was a pretty cool spot. We also had a pretty nice froggy bow, and then there were a whole bunch of tacks on this table. Froggy bow through a table. That was pretty cool. But yeah, this match is, like I said, it's what you expect. You expect to see a whole bunch of violence here. Also, Mark Briscoe hit the J Driller for his brother. After MJF has been run his mouth and having MJF's been talking about Jay Briscoe a lot, talking bad about him. So Mark Briscoe had to get that revenge on him like that. But yeah, Mark Briscoe ended up winning here. It's gonna be interesting to see what's next for Mark Briscoe. Um, Maybe go after like the mid card title scene. I don't know. I feel like this is the end of this feud because I don't want to see any more Mark Briscoe and MJF matches. But yeah, Mark Briscoe ended up winning. And the next match we had was a trios match between the Hurt Syndicate and Ricochet's group is called the Demand of Ricochet and the GOA, Toa Leona and Bishop Khan. Yeah, I thought this was a pretty decent match. I mean, it's funny when Ricochet screams a lot. He took this big like back body drop and he like screamed. Like Ricochet is a meme sometimes. It was like seeing like the power of like the Gates of Agony they were doing on the like Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. Shelton Benjamin, he was looking like a star here. He was doing some amazing moves. MVP, of course, it came to no surprise that he was a weak link, with he had a bad knee. The Ricochet and GOA, they were really targeting his knee a lot throughout the match. Um, yeah, but MVP, yeah, he was definitely the weak link in this match, like I said. And there was this really nice point where a Ricochet, he did this nice like tope like over the ring post onto the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin. That was really nice in the match. And then it was like Toa Leona. He knocked Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin into the timekeepers area. So that kind of left MVP to kind of defend for himself. And it was all wraps for MVP then. MVP got hit with the spirit gun by Ricochet, and 1, 2, 3, the winners of the match were the Demand. So, like I expected, this was the only right outcome to happen. And then now you know what needs to happen. The Demand, they need to win the trios titles. They need to win it off the ops because they need to make this the Demand like really credible. Ricochet and GOA, they need to make them credible. But great decision here, and it was a fun match. I enjoyed it. All right, and then the next match we had was the TBS Championship on the line. We had, I think, 9 belts Monet at this point. Mercedes Monet, she was defending against Riho, the first ever AEW Women's Champion. Now, despite there being not a lot of build up to this match, I thought the chemistry between both women were actually pretty good. I mean, yes, of course, we were expecting Mercedes to retain. I mean, she wasn't going to be losing here to Riho. But I gotta say the nice transitions between both women were really nice. I also like the foot stomps that Riho was doing throughout the match. The different type of submissions that they were doing. It was really good. And how I didn't think they were gonna have much chemistry. I really didn't think they were gonna have a lot of chemistry. But then there was one point in the match where Mercedes Monet she kind of like gave Riho an eye poke, and then Mercedes Monet hit the money maker or whatever. I think that's what her finisher is called. But yeah, hit her finisher onto what was the statement maker? I can't remember. But yeah, hit her finisher on Riho to retain the TBS championship. Like I said, I wasn't expecting Mercedes Monet to lose, so yeah, I wonder who she'll eventually drop the title to. Like I wonder, but just gotta wait and see. But yeah, Mercedes Monet retains. All right. Next match we had was the AEW Unified Championship on the line in a 3-way match. So we had Okada defending title against Konosuke Takeshita and Mascara Dorada. And I gotta say, in my personal opinion, this was match of the night. Like, oh my god! Like, I love the different styles we got in this match. Like with the Lucha Libre, that was pretty nice. I mean, Masquerada was in here hitting all of his like big high flying moves. It was nice seeing Konosuke and Okada go at it. Kind of getting because we're gonna definitely get them in a one-on-one match. Because I mean, they're all part of the Don Callis family, but it looks like Konosuke he might eventually might do a babyface turn. I mean, he gets a great reaction from the fans. But yeah, this match was awesome. But I mean, we all knew that Okada was going to be retaining. He ended up hitting the Rainmaker onto Mascara Dorada to retain the title. But like I said, I mean, the nice strikes that they were doing onto Mascara Dorada, the like I said, the high flying, the crowd was into it. Yeah, this was definitely the best match of the night. But I mean, some people are going to forget about it because it's happening in the middle of the card. This is what match was this? This was the sixth match of the night. So I mean, there was just so much stuff that's going on throughout throughout the card. It's just gets lost in the shuffle. But yeah, in my personal opinion, this was match of the night. All right, and then the next match we had was Darby Allin versus John Moxley in a coffin match. Yeah, I thought this was I mean, this was what you're going to be expecting out of a coffin match. Between both guys. Darby Allin, he was just trying to kill himself throughout the match. Do some crazy bumps. Moxley, he was bleeding profusely like he always does. There was actually one spot I really liked where they kind of both landed in the coffin. Like they had a coffin standing up, and Darby Allin he did like a tope to John Moxley, and they both went through the coffin. I thought that was a pretty cool spot in the match. I don't like the whole fork in the ear. Like, I mean, we saw that back at Forbidden Door, which I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. I mean, Moxley, his like ear was bleeding. He was getting the fork stabbed in his ear, and then also stabbed on his forehead. I mean, it's crazy spots. But the big thing that came out of this match was the return of Pac. At first, I didn't know who it was, like, because it's definitely weird seeing him with short hair. So we had Pac return to help out John Moxley, and also we had the rest of the Death Riders come out. Like John Moxley really needed help to win the match. To be honest, I'm kind of tired of the Death Riders. I really am. But yeah, and also Dana Bryan or Brian Danielson, he gave Darby Allin a bag to put like kind of how at Wrestle Dream last year how John Moxley suffocated like tried to suffocate Brian Danielson with the bag. Well, Darby Allin he put the bag over Moxley's head and started trying to put him to sleep. But that didn't work out. Like I said, Pac came out. He did this nice like razor's edge and threw Darby Allin onto the outside. There was a second coffin out there and threw him on that. Like, ooh, that just looked painful. And then Darby Allin got put in a body bag, and then it was all wraps for Darby there. Pac threw him in the coffin with him in the body bag, and then Moxley closed the casket or closed the coffin, and that was the match. John Moxley ended up winning. It doesn't look like this is the end of the whole Death Riders, or this doesn't look like it's the whole end of Moxley and Darby Allin. Maybe they might do like an exploding barbed wire, or maybe like an inferno match or something crazy. It's gonna be some crazy stipulation. But yeah, because we saw Moxley and Darby later on in the night, which we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But the Death Riders, they carry Darby Allin away in the coffin, and that was that match there. Excuse me. Oops. Let's go back to this match here. So we had the AEW Women's Championship in a four-way. We had Toni Storm defending the title against Jamie Hayter, against Chris Statlander, and against Tekla. Yeah, this match. Did I skip a match? I thought I skipped the match. This match was all sorts of crazy. I mean, they left off where where they were at from the previous match. Like they were just going, like all balls to the wall here. Um, I to be honest, I wouldn't mind whoever won this match. I would have been fine whoever won this match. There was this nice kind of like spear that Tekla did off the apron to Jamie Hayter in the match. Like all women, like they were coming in hitting their spots. Tekla, she was just like superplexing like all these women at one point, off the top rope and kind of like doing her like upside down hang. Tony Storm, she was hitting her nice, like that nice, a nice, the cheeks that she does in the corner. That's pretty good. Jamie Hayter, I mean, also Tekla, she was whipping, took her belt off, started whipping the women in the match. That was crazy. Also, Wheeler Yuta, he was out there at the beginning. I completely forgot about Wheeler Yuta. He still wants to keep on recruiting Chris Statlander to be a part of the Death Riders, but Chris Statlander wasn't having none of that. Told Wheeler Yuta to leave. She don't want help. But yeah, this match was just crazy. I mean, even with the amount of time that they had, it was only like 12 minutes in the match. But the surprising ending here, it looks like Tony Storm, she was probably getting ready to go for the package pile driver, or her go for her pile driver, but Chris Statlander reverses it into a seatbelt. That pinfall that kind of Wheeler Yuta does. So Chris Statlander ends up getting pinfall over Tony Storm and new AEW Women's Champion Chris Statlander. Yes, Chris Statlander is the new AEW Women's Champion. This is her first. This is her first time being AEW Women's Champion. She hasn't had a title. She hasn't went for the AEW Championship since in 4 years. So this is definitely overdue for her. Hey, I'm happy that they put it on Chris Statlander. I can't wait to see what she does as the AEW Women's Champion, because I always wanted to see her as champion, and no, she's champion here. So awesome moment here. And then Harley Cameron came out to celebrate with Chris Statlander. But yeah, this was an awesome match. I enjoyed it. All right. And then we keep on getting crazier, with all the stipulations. Next match we had was the AEW World Tag Team Championship 4-way ladder match. We have Brody King, and Bandito defending the titles against the Young Bucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, going up against Jet Speed of Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey, and then going up against the Don Callis family of Josh Alexander and Hechicero. And we've seen so many ladder matches, and I guess we haven't seen enough ladder matches this year. Since they did that crazy TLC match for WWE, AEW goes like, hey, we'll do something, we'll do crazy, we'll do our own version of this, like a TLC. And boy, oh boy, this was all balls to the wall. This is some crazy stuff in this match. I mean, Jet Speed, they were doing some crazy dives over, onto the outside of the ring, crazy planches. I mean, there was one point where the Young Bucks, they were on the top rope, and I believe it was a couple of I think it was Hechicero and Josh Alexander, they were on tables, and then also you had Kevin Knight, he got onto the top rope as well. He had a frog splash through a table. There were so many tables breaking in this match. And then one of the Young Bucks, they hit this the swanton through a table off the top rope. I can't remember exactly. I think Bandito ended up going through one of the tables. And then there was this nice kind of elbow drop, or frog splash, I think. There's this so many spots. It's so hard to keep track of. Also, Brody King with that bridge ladder on the outside of the ring, doing that like Dante's Inferno, snapping that ladder in half. Like, I thought Mike Bailey was dead. I'm pretty sure Mike Bailey was the one who went through that ladder, but that was crazy there. The Young Bucks, you know what they usually do in a ladder match. They are some great ladder match competitors, hitting a lot of super kicks like they always do. Hechicero and Josh Alexander, they didn't do too bad. They were kind of quiet in this match. Also, there was one point where Kevin Knight, he took this crazy ladder spill into like two tables on the outside of the ring. That was wild. But yeah, it's like I said, this match was all balls to the wall, crazy action. But in the end, Brodito did end up retaining the tag team titles. And also, we saw this crazy sunset flip power bomb from the top. Like there was a bridge ladder to like the turnbuckle and the one other ladder. That was crazy. You even saw Mike Bailey. He hit this double knees onto Hechicero on a ladder. Like it looks like Mike Bailey hurt his knees there. But yeah, it was just wild match. But yeah, like I said, Brodito ended up winning. But then the results after the match even got me more excited because the Young Bucks, they were still in the ring. They were still in the ring after everything happened. But then we had the return of none other than Jack Perry. And then Jack Perry, he flips off the Young Bucks, after all the things that the Young Bucks been saying about Jack Perry. So the Young Bucks, they decide to beat him down for a little bit, him with some super kicks. And then the lights go dark. We see his video package. We see like Jack Perry, he's unburying somebody. I don't know who it is. I kind of had a good feeling on who it was. And then exactly we know what we had happen at was that a Dynamite? I can't remember exactly, but we saw none other than Jack Perry injecting Luchasaurus because I was wondering at that last show, like who injected Luchasaurus with that IV or whatever, that fluid to get him going again. And it was none other than Jack Perry. We had the return of Lucha Express. Yes, Jack Perry and Luchasaurus are back together. They beat down Young Bucks, and the fans are going like, "Oh, they're doing all that again." It's awesome. Like this tag team division, like this takes me back to when AEW like was like 2019, 2020, 2021. This takes me back to that time. Like it's nice seeing Luchasaurus and Jack Perry back together again, or Jungle Boy. Like this tag team division really needed that. I mean, AEW has one of the best tag team divisions in like all of professional wrestling, and they need to really start showcasing that more again. I felt like they are. Because we got Bro Dealer here, we got the Young Bucks, we got Jet Speed, we got the Don Callis family, like a whole bunch of forms of them. We got we got Jungle, we got Lucha Express. We just got so many variations. So, like I said, I'm happy that they're back. And yeah, that was that. And then before we get to the main event, we also had like a backstage segment. We had the Death Riders. It was Marina Shafir. She was about to. Well, they were about to try to. John Moxley was trying to end everything with Darby Allin. He ended up getting out of the body bag. And then Darby Allin actually put Moxley in the body bag and actually lit Moxley on fire. Like this was some crazy stuff. Like Moxley got lit on fire with the whole, while being in that body bag, and then they had to quickly bring extinguishers in. And man, that was just crazy there. Wild. But yeah, it's like I said, it's not the end between Moxley and Darby Allin. They're definitely going to have another match, probably at Wrestle Dream. We'll see what happens, but yeah, But it's awesome seeing Jurassic Express back, and also the crazy stuff with Mox again lit on fire. Like I said, they were just all these wrestlers. They were just trying to kill each other throughout this whole night, and it doesn't stop there. Here's the main event. We got the AEW World Title on the line. We got Hangman Adam Page defending the AEW World Championship against the TNT champion Kyle Fletcher. Boy, oh boy, this was a long match. And also the stipulation was if anybody from the Don Callis family would interfere in the match, Kyle Fletcher will be stripped of the TNT championship. And I didn't think that we needed to have like a whole bunch of like tables, a whole bunch of more extreme type of moments because I thought they can come out here and just have a great match. But no, we had to have more of that. Yeah, but overall, I thought this was a really good match. Though I think it was kind of overdone with like the tables and the weapons and all that jazz. I thought, but overall, like I said, great match. I like how Hangman he was really work how he was like how Hangman's neck was getting targeted throughout the match. Whole bunch of brain busters, a lot of brain busters uh from Kyle Fletcher. Really back and forth match. Um, you know, but and also Kyle Fletcher he hung well with Hangman and Page here. Like Kyle Fletcher, he's definitely going to be AEW World Champion, probably by maybe All In next year. Maybe I'll say like give it that probably by All In next year because man, he has star written all over him. Like I said, there was a whole bunch of brain busters that happened, a whole bunch of like crazy spots. They even fought in the timekeepers area. Like I said, I didn't need all the tables. I didn't need all the other jazz that was part of this match. But hey, that's what we had. But in the end, Hangman he would end up hitting the super deadeye and then into buckshot lariat to retain the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Like I said, this match got 38 minutes and 7 seconds. Wild. Wow. They were going into the start of WrestlePalooza, when you had John Cena and Brock Lesnar going at it. I mean, you could tell the match I was more invested in was this match right here. This match right here rather than the Cena and Brock. Because these are two guys in their prime. So amazing work here. Yeah, Hangman ended up retaining the AEW Championship, and that was AEW All Out. That was All Out, guys. That was a long show. even this review was long as well, But 10 matches, but overall, if you haven't seen uh AEW All Out yet, definitely go all the way and check it out because these AEW pay-per-views they do not disappoint. Yes, they can be long, but they never disappoint. You get your bang for your buck. And Tony Khan knows how to like over deliver with a lot of these matches. But yeah, that was AEW All Out. Like I said, the best match of the night for me was personally I like the three-way match the best for the AEW Unified Championship. That was the best match of the night. But if this is your first time ever checking out my channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button to help out my videos in the algorithm. Also, go follow me on Instagram and X at the True JSB, and then also you can go follow me on TikTok. It's the Juggernaut Show. That is going to be linked down in the description below. All my links are down in the description below as well. Also, go subscribe to the Flex Zone podcast. Go subscribe to Kickin It with Leo, the T.A.G podcast, the Instant Classic Wrestling podcast. Go subscribe to all of them. Go spread love within the IWC. Go spread love there. But yeah, my next review that I'm going to be doing is WrestlePalooza, so stay tuned for that. I'll be doing that later on here. But yeah, like I said, it was a jam-packed weekend of wrestling. Like I said, the more superior show was All Out. But yeah, this is your boy Juggernaut, and I'll see you guys in my next video. So peace.